is Thursday, and you know that if it's Thursday at 1 o'clock, what we're doing at Train Entertainment, COVID or no COVID, we're doing Think Tank Thursday, because what I know is that normally the world, at least my world, your world too, Laura, I'm sure, we run like at 1,000 miles an hour. We coined a term last week. Hey, we can get out of the frenzy of busy. And we were doing that, or trying to do it at least, on Think Tank Thursday for just few minutes, just one time during the week, that we would take a moment to stop and think about anything that we want to think about. And oh my gosh, isn't it an interesting day today? That Laura, I've got Laura O'Neill. Laura is a wonderful member of our team and a dear friend of mine for a long time. The reason we're a little bit early is we thought we were going to need to go Facebook Live on my phone. I was wrapping my head around that. And anyway, you don't even want to know all of it. Necessity is the mother of invention, and we were inventing, and then voila, here we are live. So it looked like we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't for a minute, but we do now. So Think Tank Thursday, 1 o'clock. Here we are. I'm glad you're here. If you're not here, hurry up and get here. We got lots to talk about today. Laura O'Neill, my dear friend Laura O'Neill, for about years. You'd know we were more than 30 if I told you. They probably know we're more than 30. But we've been friends for about that long. And she helped me dream and scheme almost everything in the world that we do at Train Entertainment. She is also the leader of our business coaching division. Our business coaching division is such an exciting work. I'll let Laura tell you a little bit about that and why she's so motivated and entrenched. She's coached so many of our leadership teams in the companies and countries that we deal with. So I'll let her tell you a little bit about all that. But today our intention is to really talk about, I don't even know that it's a new normal, but you're probably doing life a little bit different than you were doing it before today. And we want to talk a little bit about some of those things. We put out a good blog yesterday. If you missed our blog, it's on our website. If you don't get our email, I would encourage you to sign up. You can do that on the website. She put a great blog yesterday, 4 tips to kind of help those of you that have transferred from being at work workers to virtual workers. Anyway, Laura, yay! Tell me about why you're motivated to do Think Tank today. And I would love for you to share just a little bit about your motivation for business coaching, because in our realm, so many of our customers certainly are paused for a minute because they're closed, but several of our business coaching clients are not on pause because their leadership teams are trying to make big decisions right now. And so I'd love to know what inspires you about kind of heading up that division, and what do you think is important for us to talk about today as people are kind of wading through this sea stuff.
Great, thanks. Well, the division, let me talk first about that, about business coaching and why I think it's important. It's really 2 main things. People do not know what they don't know, period. Including me, including you, all of us.
We learned stuff we didn't know yesterday.
We know a lot of stuff. You'll have to tell that story in a minute, Beth. But we don't know what we don't know. And so all of us need a mentor. Everybody needs a mentor. Everybody needs a coach, because, and you know, it's so interesting because I'm seeing things in kind of a slowed down way right now. And I'm seeing people who are going, oh man, I just learned that you should criticize in private and praise in public. It's a huge revelation. And I'm like, really? You're just learning that? And so what I learned is that we are all always learning.
Oh, yeah. If we're growing. If we're growing.
Yes, if we're
growing,
growing, if
yeah.
we care about it, if we have
Yeah.
any intention at all.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think learning smacks us in the side of the face too. I mean,
Whether we want to
sometimes,
grow or not. Yeah.
yeah, unless we, yeah. And so I think, it's interesting that people, I think, I can't believe you didn't know some things that I already know, but I'm an older person, still very young,
Young.
vital, doing all the things I want to do. But I have a lot more experience. And so that's one thing, is that people don't know what they don't know. And it's not a guilt thing. It's not a shame thing. If you have not been exposed to it,
How would you know it?
how could you know it? Absolutely right. And the other thing is that I think we need sometimes a neutral person. And I was thinking yesterday about when I was quite a bit younger, and I would think, I'm working, I've got a young daughter, I've got to clean my house, I've got this, and this. And I used to joke with some of my friends that live locally, you come clean my house and I'll go clean your house. And the reason for that is I'm trying to think of a good word here, but it deletes some of the emotion.
Well, and I think builds up purpose. Like if I have to go clean your house, I'm helping, I'm doing something for you. I have a different purpose, where if I got to clean my house, it feels like drudgery. And the minute I clean it, the baby's going to spill milk on the floor. And it's like, yeah. So.
Right. And we have this idea, I think, about how we clean our house. And so really, if you think about what we do with our clients, we're kind of helping them clean house. And we're helping them to, but they need that unemotional person on the outside to say, wow, I can really hear that you feel like you need to paint the walls. I really hear that. I wonder, though, if we should maybe sand them and clean them first. And so we kind of help people in that way. So that's just two things. There are so many other things, but I just think, and we could get into the weeds about, that your people, you need to have the right people in the right seats. You need to have all those different things that we help people with. But go ahead, Beth, go ahead.
Well, I have a great question about that. It just triggered because it's a blog idea that I've written down. It's interesting because right people, right seat. One of the things that happens in our business coaching world, and it happens with every single client that we work with, is so many times, and I think it's because we're entrepreneurs, we write job descriptions. No, we don't even do that. We create roles in the company that fit the skills of the people that are near us, because we hire our friends and our family and people we trust and stuff like that. And instead of looking at what the business absolutely needs and then hiring the skill set to fit that role. And so here we are in this time where so many of the customers we serve had to lay everyone off because they're closed right now. And in the United States, at least, we have an opportunity to make some changes. So how do you feel about that in this particular time? If the right people are not in the right seat and you're having to take a step back and reevaluate the business, my question would be, with everything, like if everything goes back to normal, whatever that means, do you need as many people as you have today? Do you need the same people that you have? Are there people that if you could do it over again, you would put them in a different seat, or you wouldn't have hired them in the first place? Have you gotten clear about what your culture is? Like, I just think there's so much opportunity right now to really seriously ask those kinds of questions and maybe make some changes. How do you feel about that?
I feel the same way. One thing I would say is, when we talk about right people, right seats, if you could think about the seat being a job
first.
And so what jobs do we really need? What jobs does the company need to run effectively, efficiently, with great customer service. What are those jobs? And now is a wonderful time to evaluate that, to find out what is it that the company really needs. And then take a look at the pool of people that you have and or had and say, who would work really well based on their skills? Not that they're my sister, not that they're my cousin or my best friend, although best friend is, we do want to keep.
You would want to keep all that intact. You would keep that like it is.
Keep that intact, but don't mess with that one. But but how would those things fit? So I would say take a look at your jobs. Take a look at many businesses call it an organizational chart. We call it an accountability chart. Take a look at that and find out what it is you need. What are the jobs that are most important for you? And then, I mean, this is a perfect time. We were talking about this the other day. This is also a perfect time for you to be thinking about what are your policies.
Oh yeah, processes.
Yes. Processes. And if you need help with that, just reach out to us. We'll be glad to give you some real great tips on that. But now is a wonderful time for you to be thinking about what your policies are for your business. Are they, do we need to kill a policy because it's not working anymore? It's not even needed anymore. And so why is it taking up space on your hard drive? Why is it taking up space in a manual somewhere? Get rid of it. So now's a good time to be doing that as well.
That's awesome. So it's almost like the whole business inventory. And I do think that, I think that's very relevant. We're in this time of slowdown. And I don't exactly feel like I've slowed down any, because I don't know if I just made up a bunch of stuff to do extra, or what I'd like to think it is that we're doing all those things we've been meaning to do. And yes, time for it.
Except especially for people like us who are leaders, and especially you as the owner, you're having to also think about change in a way that maybe you have not before. And so that's got your mind going. I mean, I think that they say an entrepreneur, a CEO has like 136 things going on in their head at one time. Now
you get the chagrin of the people who have to pull that stuff off.
Yeah. And so now you've got COVID on top of that. And it's not COVID one thing. It's really COVID everything. Everybody is affected in the whole world, whether you have it or you give it to someone or you live with somebody at it. We're looking at it from our financial standpoint, our mental standpoint, all of those things. And so right now, lots of things are having to be reevaluated. And sometimes we can't even shut our brain off long enough to not evaluate them for a period of time.
Well, or to begin to think, I know. So, I made the crazy decision to go on a cruise. And I believe we departed on the day before they said, don't cruise, and we were out to sea. So I think on the 7th is when I left. So the whole world changed between the 7th and the 14th. And then we had last week, and now we're on Thursday of this week. And for me, and I wouldn't say I'm panicked. I mean, in my world, and Laura, you know this, and so does most of our audience, we deal with the big health crisis here at home with my husband and the big C, not COVID, but cancer. And so just layer that on top, and now the whole world is in that same kind of frame of mind. That's what I'll call it, not panic. But it does take up all the room. It takes up all the space. And as a leader, you're trying hard to make great decisions for your family, for people on your internal team, thinking about your external customers and then their customers and the whole world. And I don't know about you, but until I would say even today, I haven't been able to get out of some of the right now of it all, because I am excited about the opportunities. We talked about it yesterday, the unintended outcomes. Like there's going to be some cool stuff come out of this. I haven't been able to get my head free enough to have some of that creative, but I can feel some cracks today where I'm thinking about go to market strategies and how to really help people and how to help people now. And that I know there will be a payoff, if you will, later and stuff like that. And so I'd love you to address that I mean, I know it from being the business owner. You're an employee in our company. I'd love to hear kind of how you're grappling with that. So other people will probably feel a whole lot more normal, I think. Like, how are you doing personally and professionally with all the different decisions that are being made and kind of the wonder of what's next and that sort of thing? That's kind of a big question. Are you okay?
That's okay. Well, so, I have to call people like my mortgage company because we're down to half time. And so I need to I need to do some strategic things. So I have to kind of set emotion aside a minute and go, okay, I got to get some things done today. And so I've got to call some folks. I've got a lot of things because I travel so much normally. I have a lot of my bills online and they just automatically come out. And so I need to shut all that off so that I have more control over what I can control. And I think that's one of the things I've had to ask myself, and I would recommend that you all do, is to ask yourself, what is it that you have control over? You don't have control over COVID.
No.
You do have control over whether you go out or not, whether you practice physical distancing. Some people call it social distancing.
I love it that you use the word physical. I love it that you use the word physical.
Yeah, I think physically, I think socially we can still be really connected like this. And on the phone and texting and WhatsApp and all those different ways. But physically, we just need to be separate right now. And that's not going to last forever, but it's going to last for a period of time. And so what else don't we know? We don't know about time. How long is it going to last? Governor Cuomo in New York has said that, we're still in his state 14 to 21 days out, maybe, for it to be at the flat line. So, we don't know that part, but what do we know? Well, we can make sure that we have, and I hate to even say this, toilet paper. We can make sure that we have, excuse me, the basics that we need. We don't have to hoard, the stuff's going to be there, but what do I need for this week? And so we can look at what is it that we can control, what can't we control. And I would say if we can't control something, just kind of melt into the acceptance of that.
Yeah.
That's all you can do is you can fight it. You can be mad, you can be whatever, but okay, this is something I can't control. So that's kind of where I'm at this week, is feeling like, what can I do? What can't I do? And then just melting into what I can't.
So that's great. That's great information. I often wonder if control is an illusion to begin with.
Anyway, right, exactly.
And so kind of melting into the fact that, hey, I can decide when I'm going to pay the electric bill and when I'm going to pay the water bill and things like that, and I can massage those things that I can massage.
Right.
But control, I don't know.
I'm with you. But
but it is. I mean, I think that like I will clean around.
I would say one other thing.
Go. You go.
Well, I'm sorry. We have a slight, I think, because on the internet right now, there's so many more people probably on it during the day that it's slowed down. So I didn't even see that you weren't talking, or that you were talking there. But I think you were talking about cleaning a room.
Yeah.
Those are some things that we can control, which I think are important. Some things that we can do. But as far as our business goes, I think this is a time when we really can pay attention.
Yeah.
We can intentionally pay attention to our business, because Beth, we hear from our customers all the time, and even we internally say it. Oh God, we're so busy.
I've got my head down. Just keep my head down.
Go.
Yeah.
But now you can kind of,
Head up.
I often say, get up on Pluto and look down on your business, right? Mm-hmm. And in business coaching, we talk about, get up in the tree. Mm-hmm. And see, where do you want to go? Get up above it all. And so I think we can have an opportunity to take a bigger picture of what we're going through and what we're doing. Oh, and I say one other thing. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
I think it's okay to be scared. I think if you're not scared, well, good for you if you're not. You may have been through some other things that have prepared you for something like this, but I think it's okay to have emotion, whether it's fear or whatever it is. I think it's okay to have that. I just think we have to decide, hey, I'm going to feel really crappy for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go do something productive. And then maybe tonight you shed a few tears. So I think it's really okay to feel what you're feeling. And if you try to deny that, I think your brain keeps track of everything. And it's going to keep track of that. And it's going to know that you didn't feel when you needed to feel, and you're going to end up feeling at some other place in your world or some other time when it's really not appropriate. So feel what you feel, and then make a plan for being productive as well.
That's great. That's great. So that it's not misplaced. If you do it now, it won't be misplaced, and you get all the messiness that comes with having to clean it up when you do it misplaced. So I was just trying to check Facebook here to see if we had any questions. Candy, we'll count on you to jump in and help us with that, because I can't focus and look at my phone. Can you believe that? So Laura, we're lucky. We're not one of those companies that had to move from being with everybody and all that kind of stuff. You know, in your article yesterday, you said something about it's not like we can gather at the water cooler and gossip or check in and say good morning or hey boss, can you look at this? We don't have that same opportunity. We're used to that at Traintainment. We've been a virtual coaching and training company for the entire time. I mean, we couldn't even have this business if not for this kind of environment. So on the one hand, it's kind of exciting. It's like, oh wow, the whole rest of the world gets to get used to how we already do business. So for us, it's kind of good. But for the team member that's moving, because we've seen this throughout the years, we've hired people who came directly out of a center, for instance, and the isolation that comes with working in your home office and juggling the discipline of I got to get up and get dressed and go to work, and even when is it time to turn it off and close the door and not go to work. How do you manage the isolation piece personally and professionally, and what kind of advice would you have for others that may be struggling because it's brand new?
Yeah. Well, the point about just seeing somebody in the hall, if you're working a brick and mortar business, seeing somebody saying, hey, I think we take a lot of that for granted when we don't have it. Just being able to see somebody, just stick your head around a cubicle and say hi for a second. All those things I think make a big difference. So we have to have that virtually in this time. And of course, we've been doing it, as you said, for years. So, you can get on, and we played a little bit yesterday with Google Hangouts.
Yes.
You can just get on a Hangout one-to-one. You can send a Zoom link one-to-one. Some of you might have already GoToMeeting that you've used, sporadically. You can use that. So I would say do that. Get on face-to-face just like this, because even though we are in our company are really trained at Traintainment to hear things, we're used to that. We're used to hearing something maybe that somebody says on a phone.
Because that's what we have to do.
Because we have to do.
Have those other
physically. And so until you learn some of those things, do this. And of course, we do this several times, depending on what department you're in. We do this several times a week. And so it's great. So I would say at least once a week, have a Zoom meeting. And I say this all the time, but where there's a lack of information, the imagination runs wild.
Yeah.
And if we don't give our folks enough information right now, they're going to feel really lost. They need more information now than they probably did before. And so, even if you do, Beth is wonderful. You're great to do those Vidyard. It's VIDYARD. It's an app. You can do that Vidyard app and send out a really quick just video to your team.
Yes.
Once or twice or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
It takes like, what does it take, Beth? 2 minutes, 3 minutes at the
Really.
most?
Yeah, I mean, and on our quarterly for the fourth quarter, Jerry and I had to make that move to Houston. It's so funny because we're all not together anyway, but
Right.
there's something weird about having to move from my home office to Houston. So this must be how people are feeling about moving out of their places of businesses into
Right.
their home. And I was like, I got to stay connected, and made it one of my quarterly goals to do those Vidyard recordings and just to say, hey, I'm here. You know,
here's what we're looking at. Here's what we're thinking about training.
yeah,
Here's what we're,
what are you doing? You know, I would ask for things from you guys. So just to kind of keep that collaboration, that's the word I was looking for earlier. We had like a fantastic collaborative operations call just this morning, and that stuff can be real energizing. And that's one of those things that's a great outcome because you have that focus. We're not going to bounce in and out of each other's office. The time is right then. Everybody got the same kind of training. I'm really excited. I want to tell you that Derwin is our Think Tank super fan. Hey, Derwin, you've probably seen every Think Tank and almost always been here participating since the very beginning. I love you and I thank you, and you're still going to be my guest. We keep meaning to do that. But he had great input here, and I just want to share it real quick. This time is creating such a hunger for our industry. I was thinking about just in the last couple of weeks, how many birthday children are missing us right now. That's right, Derwin. Everybody with a late March, April, May, and maybe even June birthday, they're going to miss having their birthday. And we have to prepare and be ready for the possibility of a 5-month summer. I love the way you're thinking of that, because you know what? That's a way to recover. I'm going to write that down, Derwin. Recover.
Me too.
With a 5-month summer. I love it. And Meredy, hello, Meredy. It's so good to see you. Vidyard, you've got it right. Vidyard. So we use Chrome, and Vidyard is a free download. You can certainly upgrade and get more fancy stuff. But it's so cool because when I send out email, I have a little video camera icon right in my email. I can click on that. It takes me, it's like magic. It just takes me straight to Vidyard, and it counts down, and then I just say whatever I want to say, and it puts the picture right in the email. I give my little email a title, and boom. Meredy, send me your email, and I'll send it to me, and I'll send you a little Vidyard so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But that is, Laura, I'm glad you brought that up, because
really helpful.
Well, thank you. And I just, I can just see from the feedback that we get from our team that it's brightened somebody's day a little bit, gave them something to think about, and connection is super important.
Really important,
Because that's a big part of the isolation, isn't it, Laura? Communication and just feeling like you lose connection. Tell me other things that you do to kind of cover that.
Well, I'm really good about picking up the phone, and people like to text, and that's great. And if that's the way you want to do it, that's fine. But I like to pick up the phone and have a conversation. And so, I will pick up the phone. This might sound funny, but I will open my windows wide, and I live near downtown, and so I can watch people who are walking, because we can still walk in our state. We don't have to stay within our home. We can't congregate in any way, but people can still walk. So that helps me feel a little bit connected to the world, to the outside world.
Nice.
And just kind of seeing what other people are doing. I watch, like, usually Governor Cuomo's thing in the morning. He's usually there around 8 o'clock my time, which is 11, 12 something on the East Coast. And I listen to that, and then I don't listen to news all day. I just,
good.
I don't do it. And I don't subscribe to all the fear. There's a lot of fear tactics out there, and I don't want to listen to them. I'm really, really lucky because my daughter's here with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
My adult daughter chose to not be in her home, but to be in my home during this
Oh,
time.
nice.
And I'm really,
So
really
jealous.
glad for the, so glad. And, so for me, it's a little bit easier. And I mean, I think all of us are just praying that Netflix always stays up, because sometimes you have to be on Netflix. But I'll tell you, the other thing that's so great, and this is not so much about isolation as it is about maybe entertainment, but so many great, you've probably seen it, operas, museums are having virtual
Oh,
tours.
dude. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And so those are some things that are educational that you can do with your
Yeah.
kids too,
Yeah.
that are wonderful. So, I think everybody's different. I know that there are people out there who are kind of like a hermit. They love this. It's like they don't have to feel guilty for wanting to stay home all the time. So some of the people are really loving it, and that's great. But, I think you just have to pay attention to yourself and say, okay, am I feeling lonely right now? What am I feeling right this minute? What am I feeling? I'm feeling isolated. I'm feeling alone. Okay, what can I do? Back to that control thing. What can I do? I can call Beth. I can call a friend. I can call, whoever.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Sonia talked about connection and focus.
Yeah.
Those wind up being some of the challenges. I had just had a conversation with Sonia. Here's a little sneak preview. She's working on a fabulous keep it clean 5-star approach to help with the workshop for people when they can go back to work. And so she and I were brainstorming, and I could literally hear the excitement in her voice as we begin to brainstorm a little bit. Hello, your Melinda is on.
Oh,
Melinda's here. Melinda and Dennis King are doing great things. I know this has got to be crazy. They're doing live videos and doing such a great job with that. And it was relevant to me that it was one of the first weekends they've had off maybe in their entire life, because they've been in the family entertainment business their whole lives, really. And so what to do with that, right? I have a weekend off, and that's funny. Brandy's here. Brandy.
oh, I love her.
Brandy Butler down in Louisiana, battling her own healthcare issues and just doing beautiful, wonderful things for others. And I think that might be key. Is that
beautiful? Yep.
I had a couple of meltdowns over the last couple of days, to be real transparent, and it's all because I got in my head about me, and just feeling a little, I don't know, inadequate. Like, oh my gosh, am I doing it good enough? Am I doing the right things? And I got to tell you, there's no time for that.
Yeah.
There's really not.
Well, there's a little time. Give it a little time. But you're so right, Beth. If we can focus on what we can do, we have a group here where I live up in Washington who are, we have not had enough masks. As you know, Washington State was kind of the first to get hit real hard on this. And certainly we're lagging behind New York State now, but we're still, I think number 2 in deaths. And we have a group in the town next to us who are sewing masks. And our local fabric store, our local 2 yards of fabric to anybody who will sew, who will sew, who will sew masks, and they're donating those masks. So there are things that we can do.
Well, I think that that's important. I think that that's important, whether you get, I do think some of the unintended outcomes are going to be, people are going to find out, wow, I really love to work at home. Right. And some people are going to find out, wow, I really, really need my peeps, and I need to be with my peeps. And so I think businesses may change. I think that work at home thing may be more relevant and more forthcoming for people. I personally feel like that the productivity like we don't have to waste time driving to work. If we drive to work,
Right.
gone to the airport and gotten on an airplane and went to be with people typically. And so there's all that time we get back from a commute and things like that. There's a statistic that said that the people that work at home save somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000 a year on clothing and eating out and gasoline and time back and forth and stuff like that. So you may have just given yourself a raise, not my people, of course, because you're already working at home, sorry, but for the rest of the world that had to go home, Robin sent a great note, and she had this discovery last week. She said she loves sending videos to our clients on a weekly basis, reminders and homework that they could do. So even though our clients have paused, we have not paused trying to be a help and a support. We don't know how to do it any different in our company, and we won't, So Meredith, I know you love that extra weekend off too. You hadn't had that experience. Don't get used to it. People are still going to count on us to entertain them, and but I do wonder what will change. Laura, is there anything else that you'd like to share before I ask you? Vivian said that Joanne's Fabric's doing that too, about giving the fabric and stuff.
That's who's doing it here.
Fabric up there. Okay.
Yep.
Is there anything else? Any piece of advice? Any great questions you have people ask themselves about where we are, and anything that you think that they ought to be thinking about?
Well, I think the only two things I would ask, it's very, very simple. What do I need? Me, like, what do I need right now in this very moment, and stay in the moment. I always say, be where your feet are.
Oh yeah.
You can't control what's going to happen in 3 seconds. You can only control what's happening right now. And so be where your feet are. What do I need? Second question, what do others need?
Good.
You hear it all the time, but put if you're in an airplane, put your oxygen mask on before you assist your kids. And it's so true. We have to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of those around us. So what do I need? Don't be worried about being guilty and, oh, I can't take care of myself. Yeah, take care of you so that you can better take care of others. And then what do others need?
That's great. Well, I got to ask our signature think tank question, so get ready for that. Before I do that, I really want to reach out. We have a group of vendors, a group of sponsors that sponsor our conferences, and we have 2 specific sponsors that sponsor our digital experience. And gosh, that has become gigantic. We should be at a business coaching conference right now. And so for all of our sponsors out there that are our physical sponsors, thank you very much. For our digital sponsors, I do want to give a specific shout out to Redemption Plus, and also to Bowling Music Network. Both of those folks are our digital sponsors for 2020. They are engaged. I've had a private conversation with Ron Hill in the last 6 or 7 days. I can promise you, those of us that are in leadership positions in this industry are collaborating. Armando of Creative Works is one of our conference sponsors. He's a president at Creative Works, and he's been a real leader in gathering many of us together. I think I was on a call Tuesday or Wednesday that had, 25 or 26 people on there with just about that many companies represented. And so there's lots of thought going into how do we take care of each other, and what do we do. Next week, I'm excited. You want to be here next week. Christine Buer, who's been a longtime friend, a longtime customer. She is in the midst of great change. She was already selling her current business of 15 years and moving to something new. So it's quite a fascinating conversation. And so it encourage you to be here next week. And before we go, Laura, here's our signature think tank question. What do you do on a daily or weekly basis to help yourself and or others grow?
On a daily basis, I ask questions.
Yeah.
I am a question person. I'm a question hoarder. I hoard questions. I love questions. And so I try to think of new and different ways to ask questions, and then I ask them of myself and I ask them of others.
That's awesome.
So that might sound kind of funky, but we have, I don't know, Beth, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I have developed a list of 50 questions.
Yeah.
And if people want to email me, Laura at Trainertainment, or Beth at Trainertainment.
Oh, email Laura. Email Laura.
Okay. So email me, Laura at Trainertainment.net. I would be glad to give you my current list of 50 questions. It changes a lot because I love questions. So I would be glad to send that out if you want to email.
That's awesome. I'm so disappointed though, because always we have the opportunity to plug the book. And so I just figured you were obviously going to say, well, I also keep my copy of People Buy from People Close.
I do.
So
it's
I can
so
refer
close.
to it.
It is so close. Yeah. That is true as well.
We did not manage to plug the book during the, anyway. Okay.
You just did. Plug it.
I plugged away, didn't I? Well, thank you guys for joining us today. We had lots of folks that gathered up together. If you're watching it post, again, Laura at Trainertainment.net. If you want to get that great list of 50 questions, she's happy to share it with you. And I hope you all have a great day. It looks like we're going to make it through one more week. And can't wait to see what tomorrow brings. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.